Welcome to Commanders Daily, everybody, your one-stop shop for everything going on with the Burgundy and Gold. I'm Bob Matthews. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss a day of our coverage. Commanders getting ready to fly off to Los Angeles to get ready for their game against the 3-1 Los Angeles Chargers. Big game for the Commanders. You win it, you come back 3-2. Lose it, guess what? You come back 2-3. Pretty obvious, isn't it? Joe Witt and Cliff Kingsbury talked today, and we're going to get into that in just a second. We did get one piece of news late yesterday afternoon, and that's that it looks like Terry McLaurin is not going to make the trip out to L.A. He's still dealing with that quad/groin issue. Soft tissue injuries for a guy that held out. Unfortunately, it's something that we see all too often. But hopefully Terry will be back on the field next week. We will aim for week 5 now, that Monday night game against the Bears. So Joe Witt talking to reporters today before practice and said that when he watched the tape of the Falcons game, saw a lot of the same things that we saw when we watched the tape of the Falcons game. And that's that guys, as he put it, putting the cape on, trying to do too much, trying to be a superhero, and that's not what he needs. He needs guys there doing their job on every play. So he says when you look at, and we talked about it yesterday, when you look at a lot of those big gains last Sunday against the Falcons, the Bijan Robinson, one of his long runs, where you had two guys trying to strip the ball from him rather than trying to get him on the ground, and that first third down play in the first quarter, the big long gainer to I think it was Drake London, maybe it was the tight end. Anyways, what you saw was Jeremy Reeves was started to play to where he thought the ball was going instead of staying with his man. When he came off his man, it left him wide open. Again, I'm pretty sure it was London, and that resulted in that big 26-yard gain. And unfortunately, there was a lot of that on the defense last Sunday. He wants guys to communicate more back there. Pointed out what a great job they did against the Giants in the first week of the season doing that. One of the things that you would notice then is they were healthy then. You know, you had Will Harris back there playing safety, who had played it all throughout OTAs, all throughout minicamp, all throughout training camp. And it's no knock against Jeremy Reeves, who we absolutely love. Guy's a special teams stud, went to the Pro Bowl last year as a special teams guy, named to the All-Pro team as a special teams guy. But again, when you get a guy that hasn't gotten as many snaps with the starters at safety in there, that's going to happen sometimes. Hopefully, another week of practice is going to eliminate that. He also said that he wants everybody playing the way that Frankie Louvu was playing last week, flying to the ball and doing their jobs. He said that one of the reasons Louvu has been so quiet to start the year is that last year was such a great season for him that he says defense or opposing offenses are now scheming in order for Louvu not to beat them. So he says that get better performances out of the other guys, and that is going to open up things for Frankie, and he thinks that's going to start happening fairly soon. He actually sounded pretty optimistic about this week. Cliff Kingsbury as well talked yesterday, talked a lot about Jaden, obviously, as you might expect. We asked him, is Jaden going to, do you want him to do things so, he's not out of the pocket as much, less of a chance for him, to get hurt. And he says that, they work on that in practice. Unfortunately, Jaden, it's kind of instinctive on him. He compared him a little to Kyler Murray when it comes to scrambling, saying, guys that are either a little skinnier, a little shorter like that, that's part of their game, is getting out of the pocket and making things, happen that way. He also said that, Marcus Mariota played great, and he mentioned that in the 4 times that Mariota played, they've scored on 70% of their drives. But he said, Jaden, just that unique talent, that the way he plays and throws and moves, that it's just a lift, obviously, for the team. I don't think that's anything that we didn't know beforehand. But again, it is what it is. Also talked about the rotation in the running back room, said that everybody has been playing well, and you saw that last week, over 120 yards rushing from the running backs last week. He said he saw Jeremy McNichols playing really well, says he likes the three-man rotation they got going. And unless injuries come up, he says that that's the way that they're going to be going for a while. All right, the Chargers, we want to talk about them. Talked about them a little bit yesterday. So what do we expect out of the Chargers, specifically the offense? Because obviously, it is well known. Justin Herbert, one of the top 5 quarterback in the league. Amari in Hampton has been a fantastic, just a revelation at running back. They drafted him out of North Carolina. He has played really well this year. But, and here's the big but here, with their problems, their injuries at tackle, this could be a week that the Commanders' defense rebounds, especially the front four. They really ought to be able to get sacks because after watching the tape of the last 3 quarters of the game against the Giants, what you saw was that it's really bad at offensive tackle now with Austin Deculus and Trey Pipkins, the ones that are playing tackle instead of Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt. And Pipkins and Deculus both had a lot of problems against the Giants' front four. Now, again, I know the Giants' front four is kind of the strength of the team, but I like the way the Commanders' front has played at times, and I think the fact that they're going up against 2 backup tackles and a center in Bradley Bozeman that really had a tough game last week, I just think that I think that this defense is going to get its share of pressures and turnovers on the Chargers. Look for Justin Herbert to do a lot of quick throws. He's got great wide receivers there. He's got Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnson and Keenan Allen, who doesn't seem to age. So he's got some talent on the outside, but if they can get pressure on him, force him in, first shut down the quick game and then force him into some longer throws, I think they can get pressure on him and they can get to him, and they will have a, better than a 50-50 chance of coming out of this one with a road win. All right, letters. Let's hit the mailbag here real quick and see what we got going on. Hang on one second. Got to make sure that we have the right slide there. Yep. Again, as always, thank y'all so much for all of the comments. Shout out at Terry Windsor 9779. At least we got JD5 back. I'll reserve judgment until I see how he plays on Sunday. I sincerely hope he gets some of his form back because we need some spark to get going again. I fear that without a step up from the defense, we will be stuck in this cycle of playing catch up in every game. We really do need to get in front if we can because the game is very different when you lead as opposed to coming from behind. Let's hope the team can turn the corner. Well, I agree with you, Terry. I think they will have a chance at that. Again, the running game has been solid. And don't forget, this team has put up points. Even last week, losing against Atlanta, 27 points or 27 points. You score 27 a game, you should have a pretty good chance of winning. They put up 27 on the road against the Chargers. You give me that right now, I'll take it and take my chances with it. All right, that's going to do it for us. Hey, do me a favor. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a comment either down below here on this or drop a comment in the box after the game on Sunday. 425 kick, don't forget. Let us know your impressions of it, and we will talk about it all on Monday. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the game, and remember, like the wise man once said, if you're out on your bike tonight, as always, do wear white.